thing is that when you hear some of the other guys, you hear the other draft guy at ESPN, and you hear a lot of guys. Zach Wilson, Todd McShay.
Yep.
Zach, he has a lot of Patrick Mahomes. He can make throws, the off-balance throws. He can do all of this.
Okay.
And remember, nobody thought Patrick Mahomes, only Andy Reid and Brett Veach thought so much of Patrick Mahomes that they moved from 27 to 10.
True. Okay.
And I'm not so sure, Skip, and you keep saying, well, why didn't they move up to 2? It seems to me that the Jets was unwilling to move off.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
So and so if they thought they could get someone other than Zach Wilson at 2, I guarantee you they would have moved. But they don't feel comfortable that they can get Zach Wilson at 3-4. So they're going to stay put. We know the Jags were not moving up Trevor Lawrence. So that was a no-go. So it seems to me as high as the 49ers could get was 3, and they felt very comfortable. Because I tell you, I know how his dad thinks. His dad says, I'll take who you don't want, and I'll go win with that. So they said of the 3 quarterbacks that's going to be left, 2 we love, and I feel very comfortable with Trey Lance or Mac Jones.
By the way, father, as in Mike Shanahan, once upon a time traded up to 10th in the draft to take my guy Jay Cutler from Vanderbilt University, and you do not love Jay Cutler.
I did not like Jay Cutler. I didn't like his attitude. I didn't think football was the most. He was another guy. Football wasn't that important to him.
Okay, so we can debate that all another day, or maybe never, because he's out of sight and out of mind. But the point is, Mike did trade up to take him, and I applauded him for that because I watched a whole lot of Jay Cutler, especially his junior year at Vanderbilt. His senior year, he was the SEC Player of the Year.
Right.
But the point is, there are going to be swings and misses because 42% of all quarterbacks taken in the first round don't make it to their second contract with the team that took them.
Correct.
Think about that. So almost half are swings and misses.
Yes.
Okay, so
big misses.
Of these 5, you know and I know right now the math, 2.5. Let's even just go to 2.
2, okay.
2 will be big swings and big misses.
Yes.
Now, maybe the Shanahans are so genius that they can take anybody and make him a success in their offense, right? Okay.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Which one of these quarterbacks, of these 3 quarterbacks that will be left, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or Mac Jones, you think has more upside, has more ability than Jimmy G?
Oh, than Jimmy G?
Yeah.
Well, Trey Lance for a fact.
Okay.
But I might say several. Who we have left? Now, we got Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, Mac Jones,
I would
and
take
Trey Lance.
Justin Fields over Jimmy G. Who's the next one?
Mac Jones.
I think he's more poised and quicker-minded than Jimmy G is. Jimmy G gets blockheaded sometimes. He's got big talent. He's got arm talent.
Right.
He's got athletic ability.
Right.
But he freezes in big moments and comes apart. He can unravel when you least expect it.
And although the collegiate level is not the NFL level, Skip, Mac Jones has been in big-time games, SEC championship, college football playoff, national championship game, the Iron Bowl. So when you play in those big games, and I don't know if Jimmy G had those big games at the level that he played at, that bodes well for you. Tom Brady was able to. That Orange Bowl, Skip, that he played Alabama, that was a big time. You played in the Michigan rivalry. You know, you play in big-time games, you get comfortable being in situations like that, as opposed to never having been in the... Now, not to say that you can't, Jordan, in that national championship game, so him hitting big shots in big moments in the NBA Finals, that shouldn't surprise anyone.
Yep, I agree. So I'm still trying to figure out, and again, I love John Lynch. Knew him when he worked here. Have nothing but the highest respect for him as a player and an executive. But you're telling me Kyle Shanahan has to have final say here, and I'm assuming that's true.
Wouldn't you want Kyle to have final say? He's calling the plays. He's a quarterback guru. Wouldn't you on a player of this magnitude? Now, maybe another player, Skip, maybe an offensive lineman, maybe a defensive lineman, maybe there's more heads coming together. But in a situation like this, the guy that's going to call the plays, the guy that knows that position probably better than John Lynch, you would think you would concede and says, okay, take it away, bro.
Kyle handpicked John Lynch to be his right-hand man.
Correct.
So I'm going to assume it's going to fall on Kyle to step away from all of the swirling madness inside that building and say, no, I think I got to do this. Because my gut tells me it's this guy.
He gonna step over in the building. He gonna go to his dad's office. He's like, okay, Dad.
Okay, which way do we go? Maybe it's mine.
What do you think? What do you think, Dad?
Okay, so I saw another interview that Adam Schefter did with John Lynch, And John pointed out, listen to these numbers. We have attended as a staff 176 college games and practices. We have conducted 400 Zoom calls. We have interviewed 600 players. We have attended 128 separate pro days, says John Lynch, about all the homework they've done for this draft. Well, obviously, the focus of that homework it fell on these 4 quarterbacks, right? The 4 possibilities. Well, maybe 3, but I think they looked hard at Zach Wilson just in case, because you have to.
Right.
You better be ready in case he falls to you.
You will skip. You're that high. You do your due diligence. I talked to Ozzie Newsome, who's the general manager for a long time at Baltimore. I said, so what do you think about Andrew Luck? He said, man, I ain't scouting no Andrew Luck. Hell, he gonna be the number 1 pick. I'm picking 29. I ain't got no chance of getting Andrew Luck. So why am I wasting my time scouting a guy like that? But when you're that high, Skip, you do your homework on a lot of different players because, like you said, you never know who's going to slip. But I think their intel told them Lawrence is going 1, Zach Wilson is going 2. We feel comfortable. Mac Jones or Trey Lance. Now, you believe there's still an outside shot that Justin Fields could go possibly 3.
A bunch of the mocks have Justin Fields going.
Well, Fox Bet still has him as the favorite, Mac Jones. I think he's minus 120, 140.
Well, I saw some of the other sites last night they had Justin Fields coming up and Trey Lance coming up fast.
And if I had some guts, ain't enough money on Mac Jones. I bet it. I bet Mac. I would bet Mac.
So here's what I don't understand: if you paid all that freight to move up there, that king's ransom to move up there, if you were really shrewd about it, you'd sit at 12 and keep your mouth shut, and you would hope that Mac Jones just fell to you at 12, because I think there's high possibility nobody's going to take Mac Jones as high as you're thinking up in there.
But even if they don't, Skip, if you're sitting at 12, what if somebody moves up to come get him at 9 or 10?
You just don't know, but you'd have to have the right intel. And I just think nobody's going to take Mac Jones except for San Francisco.
I think the thing is that to take that element out of it, you hoping someone falls to you. You take that element out of it, you seize the moment, you put that into your own hand. Says, you know what? We're going to zoom up to number 3. We feel comfortable. Because, and I've said this, of the 5 quarterbacks, they probably got very, very similar grades. Now, Trevor Lawrence might be rated higher, but they feel comfortable with any of the 5. And it lets me know that even though 1 and 2 will be spoken for, they're like, hell, the other 3, we can win with those too. They're equal. Mac Jones is not the athlete that Trey Lance and Justin Fields. He can't run nearly as fast. But as far as throwing the football, just purely arm talent. And I read somewhere, Skip said, if you get over the look, Mac Jones is a hell of a football player. It's the same thing that got people off Tom Brady. He looked a certain way. He ran a certain way. But what about how did he throw the football? You still didn't tell me anything about that. He ain't running on his arms. Skip, he ain't got a bench press. So I understand. Give me a guy that's built like Tom Brady, built like Peyton Manning, as opposed to a guy that looks like he's a bodybuilder. Because we've seen a lot of those guys that look the part and can't play dead in a horror movie.
I think Mac Jones is closer to Kirk Cousins than to Tom Brady. Just
No. I'm saying from built, the way he's built. Because you look at his body, you're like, okay.
Okay, what I did see about Tom Brady, and I'm not saying that I saw that coming,
right?
But I watched that whole Orange Bowl against Alabama. I think it was overtime, and Brady lit them up, and finally won the game. He was a pretty thrower of the football. It comes out beautifully. The motion is sweet to watch.
Right.
It's effortless, and it's not just textbook. It's got art form to me. It's the way we saw him hitting a baseball the other day. That looked like a real swing to me. That looked like a pretty baseball swing. So when he throws it, it doesn't look pretty to me, but it gets exactly where it's supposed to go on time, and always did for Alabama in every game he started, including the 3 the year before.
It's hard for me to say that there's somebody better thrower of the football in this draft if you watch Mac Jones at any point in time. At any point in time this season, did you ever think he would be the reason why they lost the game? You watched him against Ohio State. You watched him against Notre Dame. You watched him in the SEC championship against Florida. Skip, he was flawless. I don't know. I still believe Joe Burrow statistically had the greatest college season for a quarterback ever. But boy, Mac Jones takes a backseat to no one with the way he threw the ball this year.
And I'm also not sure anyone has ever had better weapons than he's had.
Joe Burrow might have. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase.
It's arguable.
They're not slouches.
No, I got it. But Joe Burrow, to my eye test, looked like he threw it better than Mac Jones.
You think so?
That's just me.
Okay.
He just looks like a pretty good quarterback who was in a great system but made no mistakes. Meanwhile, Trey Lance, to me, I've been telling you this now for about 2 weeks on the show. He's the guy. I can't argue him above Trevor Lawrence,
right,
but I can argue him as the second best quarterback because I see it in the highlights. I see a huge arm. I see the biggest arm in this draft. I see huge athletic ability. I see huge running ability. And I saw a report that the 49ers are starting to consider him the smartest of the quarterbacks. And I get that.
Right.
I'm taking that to my bank because that 1 year body of work that we have in 2019, 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions.
Right.
0?
Well, the thing that, knowing Kyle's dad, the thing that is driving him crazy is turnovers.
Yep.
That's what rubbed his butt about Jimmy G. Not only could Jimmy G not stay healthy, Skip, he turned the ball over at an alarming rate. I mean, it was just ridiculous how much he turned the ball over. And Mac Jones is not turnover prone. I mean, you throw as many touchdowns as he throw with as fewer interceptions as he's thrown, and the ball comes out quick, the ball comes out accurately. In that system, they're going to be able to run the football, Skip. He's going to have a lot of easy throws, and that was the thing. Jimmy G had some easy throws, but